Welcome to the Evolution Magazine Live Series. It is May 27th, year 2021, and we are broadcasting live from Clovr's manufacturing facility in Kansas City, Missouri. Tonight we are here to share an inside peek into Gourmet Infused Chocolates with special guest, Kansas City's own Christopher Elbow, world-renowned chocolatier, joined by Clayton Stallings of Evolution Magazine and Bethanie White, the marketing director for Clovr. Our show will get underway in just a few moments, but first, a word from our sponsors.
Headquartered in Kansas City, Clovr is a cannabis-infused product manufacturer that believes in safe, consistent, and quality cannabis products for Missouri's medical marijuana patients. As the extractor, infuser, and wholesaler of their own products, they ensure patients are getting exactly what they are reading on the label. No chemicals, no funny business. Clovr offers a variety of cannabis-infused products ranging from gummies and beverages to vape pens and concentrates, and offered from a variety of companies including Keef, Funny Bone, Wonka, and Robots. Whatever consumption method you prefer, they've got it. At Clovr's facility in Kansas City, they're excited to announce their new, high-quality, cannabis-infused Clovr chocolate bars and bonbons with the help of chocolatier Christopher Elbow. Clovr is excited to continue to launch brand new products in the Missouri medical marijuana market.
Getting a medical marijuana patient recommendation just got easier with Elevate Holistics. Using HIPAA-compliant telemedicine software, Elevate Holistics enables patients like you to receive medical marijuana recommendations from the comfort of their own homes. Here's how it works. First, visit elevate-holistics.com to book your appointment using our online schedule. Then complete the intake forms in our confirmation email. Finally, visit with the doctor using the link in your confirmation email. It's that simple. Book an appointment today.
The Missouri Cannabis Industry Association has been our longest-running show sponsor, while providing quality education over many topics in partnership with area cannabis professionals. MCIA is dedicated to a free cannabis market to create supplies and prices that are patient-friendly, with initiatives to support adult-use cannabis, to protect home growers' rights, and expand the caregiving program. Go to mocia.org to learn about memberships, to learn about their certified caregiving program, and learn how to get involved. Thank you, MCIA, for being a show sponsor.
COCO Dispensaries and the Cannabis Care Team presents Cannabis Boot Camp. Do you want to know more about endocannabinoid system, methods of medicating, cannabinoids and terpenes, and Missouri cannabis industry? Do you want to become a bud tender and to help patients to find the best medicine for their needs? Or maybe, do you want to know how to manage your patient privacy and comfortability, the benefits of offering patient consultation, and the importance of consuming low and slow? April Hatch, Matt Cascio, Heidi Trout, Skylar Thomas, and Janie Dennis will be there to teach you all you need to know to become a respected bud tender. Text Bud Tender to 660-202-6234 or scan this QR code to register and learn more. And join us on June 12, 2021 at 1225 Fellows Place, Columbia, Missouri 65201.
Tonight's video is provided by Cat King Films. Check this out. Cat King Films is offering promotional content, commercials, training videos, wedding videos, and documentary-style video production at an affordable price. A free consultation comes with every project to ensure that it is personalized to your brand. Check out previous projects by exploring the different sections on the newly launched website at catkingfilms.com.
Evolution friends, family, Missouri patients, people in the industry, welcome to the Evolution Live series. We are live here from a different facility, Clovr manufacturing facility here in Kansas City. We have an amazing show for you guys tonight. We have local world-renowned chocolatier, Christopher Elbow. He's going to be coming on here shortly, along with Bethanie White, marketing director from Clovr. We're going to dive into the inner workings of how this is all made with gourmet chocolate infused with our favorite ingredient, that is cannabis, and medical cannabis, that is. We're going to dive into some videos with all that later. Before we do that, though, I want to say a quick thank you to all of our sponsors. MCIA, our longest show-running sponsor, thank you to them. We got a great show coming up on the first Thursday of next month with Northwest Missouri State University, with Green Flower, the CEO of Green Flower. They're one of the only 2 universities in the state that are offering cannabis curriculum. We're going to dive in with what their program has to offer. We got some great giveaways as well with some free courses through the university on that show. So thanks MCIA for sponsoring our series next month. Also, Elevate Holistics. If you guys know anybody that has not got their certification yet, or if you need your recertification or know somebody that needs their recertification, tag them in the comments. They'll get entered into a competition to win a free certification from our sponsor, Elevate Holistics. Also, Clovr. Thank you so much, Bethanie, and all the people that have made Clovr what it is today. We're going to dive into that conversation here shortly. So we have some great giveaways for them as well. We have a free tour for 2 people to come into the chocolate factory and all the other inner workings of the manufacturing plant here that is Clovr. Tag a friend. You can tag as many friends as you would like. You'll both get entered into that competition to win that free tour of the Wonka-esk infused chocolate style factory that is here at Clovr. So also, we're going to be giving away 2 free gift cards to COCO Dispensaries. Tag a friend to enter that as well, along with the medical card certification. And please remember that this is an interactive show. So if you guys have questions or comments at home, type those in the comments, as well as tagging your friends. Our production crew here will bring those questions up on the prompter here. I'll ask those questions to our guests tonight. So please participate in all of that. And without further ado, let me introduce our first guests here. I have Bethanie White and Christopher Elbow. Chris, tell me a little bit about first of all how you got into this into the industry.
So I've been a chocolatier for about 20 years now, and as our kind of industry has grown and matured, I'm always looking for new opportunities, new challenges. And I got a little bit of taste of this industry working a little bit in Colorado, just kind of trying to understand what it's all about and how a product like ours could possibly fit into that world. And so when Missouri passed and went legal, perfect opportunity for me to find a good partner in Missouri. And luckily we connected with Clovr, who's been just fantastic and is allowing me to kind of formulate this dream of creating top quality, chocolates just as you'd get at our store, right? But with the added benefit of the cannabis infusion.
Sure. And you obviously have a very rich history, and we'll dive into that here shortly. Before we do that, though, Bethanie White, thanks for joining us, the marketing director for Clovr here. So tell me, before we dive into like these next products that are coming out and Chris's history in the industry, tell me more about, so a lot of people know about Clovr. Obviously, you guys were the first manufacturer to get up and running, first to provide these products to the dispensaries that were lucky enough to open first. Tell me kind of, first of all, let's start with what licenses did you guys go for? What did you get? And then where are you at now?
So we applied for all 11, so cultivation, manufacturing, and dispensary, and we ended up just getting the manufacturing, which kind of puts us in a tight spot when we are always relying on a cultivator. As you know, the DHSS has had like 21 licenses, cultivation licenses, which kind of puts us in a tough spot as far as how much we have to pay for flower. how reliable it is, how much yield they have. So obviously our goal is to continue to be vertically integrated at some point, but right now we just have our manufacturing license, but we're happy with that.
Yeah. Well, so so you went for full vertically integrated, and,
Yes.
and then we've talked about this on some past shows about the difficulty of, not being vertical. You have to really wheel and deal, especially if you're trying to be first to market. Can you talk about some of the challenges behind that? Like, how has that been you're already first to market, but you have to outsource the cannabis, and we know that there's not a lot of cultivators, or there hasn't been, at least off the start. So can you talk about like the difficulties?
Oh, absolutely. So not only is there only 21 to date, but a lot of those are vertically integrated. So they're making sure that their manufacturing facilities and their dispensaries are covered. And we're still paying top dollar for that flower price, and to wait for them to make sure yields are okay. And they're still dialing in their processes. So we're all still learning, but we still need their product to be able to do what we're doing. So it kind of puts us in a tough spot.
Yeah. So yeah, not being vertical, it's a lot tougher to get the products you need, to make the products you need. It's obviously a whole nother ball game of a challenge, not being vertically integrated. A lot of that can transfer the costs, because you're paying higher premium for that particular flower, getting it here quicker or reserving it. You off the bat, everybody's paying a lot more for whatever's out there.
Right, and that's what we've seen in Colorado and some of the other markets is right when you're starting. I mean, it's supply and demand. It's economics. It's not just cannabis. It's economics. It's supply and demand. Yeah. The smaller supply there is, the higher the demand. They're going to charge you more for that. And if we were vertically integrated, not only are we able to be more efficient, but the patient also wins at the end because they're not having to pay as much.
Sure. And being the first off the bat, I mean, it's any situation where you have a new industry, prices are going to be a little high, especially when you don't have control over, your supply lines and all that. So I wanted to kind of get that out of the way first. There's been a lot of talk about the high prices, and it's been one of the number one complaints on all kinds of social media places. But it's really you have your hand tied, so to speak, because you have to pay that higher dollar price, and those prices get passed on because you don't have that supply that you need. We'll go back into more of that here in a little bit, but I want to talk more. It's the first time we've ever had a chocolatier on the show. So, I mean, my mind wonders. And by the way, if you guys have any questions at home, we have a chocolatier in front of us. Please ask some questions if you have any at all. But how does one become a chocolatier? What's the story?
Well, there's no formal training, right? There's not like a course you can go take, to study chocolate making. There's some smaller places around the world, but everything I've done in the culinary world, prior to becoming a chocolatier, I've been self-taught. I've always had a passion for the industry. Wanted to be a chef before that, then became a pastry chef, and when I started working with chocolate and understood that this is an art form, right? This is like somebody who works with clay or paint, and I could manipulate it and do things and make it look like we do. I was hooked right out of the gate. So I just put my head down, worked as much as I could, learned as much as I could, practiced, and eventually got to a point where I felt comfortable launching my own business back in 2003.
So you got field experience as a pastry chef, and then kind of worked your way under some other chefs.
Yeah, I kind of bopped around the country a little bit, spent some time in Las Vegas, and kind of at that point, I didn't think I was going to become a chocolatier. That really wasn't my end game. But when I did discover chocolate making and making bonbons, I kind of knew right away that that's where I wanted to focus. And when I was a pastry chef at a local restaurant, we used to make the chocolates to send out at the end of the meal with a check as kind of a thank you. And customers started asking if they could buy them, so we started making them for events and weddings, things like that. And that's really when the light bulb went off, like, wow, I could maybe do this for a living, So we took a shot and started Christopher Elbow Chocolates in 2003.
So that was 2003, but the timeline was, so when was all this earlier experience where you were making that revelation?
Back in the late 90s, early thousands. I think I worked in Vegas for about 2 years in 99, 2000, moved back to Kansas City, where luckily I worked at a restaurant where they had chocolate molds there, and I had a lot of time that I could actually spend kind of experimenting and kind of really starting to hone the craft that would become what I do today. So that opportunity allowed me to really kind of just dial everything in, work on flavors, work on designs and looks and possible packaging products and things like that.
So there's obviously, for everybody that's watching at home, there's a big difference between Hershey's. They're probably going to sue me for this. Hershey's and gourmet chocolates, and I really didn't even know the difference. I wasn't really a connoisseur until I heard about you in the past, because just being from Kansas City, Christopher Elbow is a very common name. But I never really tried it until I heard that you were doing this, helping with this collaboration with Clovr to create these infused chocolates. And as soon as I heard that, I wanted to reach out and see if I can learn more. And this was back, I think, in September or October of last year, where me and Chris Smith we came by your factory and we got to try some samples, and it is a big difference.
Yeah, it is. That's one of the things that really intrigued me about bonbons and chocolate bars and all this kind of stuff, right? We often refer to it as confections, bonbons, chocolate. We don't call it candy. We think candy is something that you kind of eat without thinking, mindlessly, right? You're gonna wolf down a candy bar. Ours, because of the ingredients we use, because of the chocolate we source from around the world, and the intense flavor profiles, the richness, right? We're using really good European-style butter, cream. They're really intense little pieces of not just beautiful to look at, but the flavor. So we kind of, it's very contemplative, right? We probably a little deeper than we need to get when we talk about our product, but that's how we think about it in our shop, and when we're formulating things and creating new products. Is this gonna, when somebody eats this, is somebody gonna recognize that quality? Are they gonna think about it in a different light? And I think the fact that we use, we don't use extracts to flavor things, right? If it's a mint bonbon, we're using fresh mint leaves, or we're juicing lemons for our lemon bonbon. That's how we can get such intense, great flavors. And that also worked really, really great for this project.
Yeah, so we're going to dive more about the extraction processes, and by the way, we have some great video behind the scenes look at his chocolate factory, which is almost identical to what we'll see here at Clovr. The whole goal of this show was to show the behind the scenes here at Clovr, but you guys are only a few days away from getting it up in operation, right?
Yes, we had our inspection yesterday. So we're just waiting to hear, and so we can get rolling. We've been promising this since December, waiting on this to happen. So we weren't lying; it's coming.
So inspection was yesterday. Luckily, we have all this video from back in September where we toured Chris's chocolate factory. So we're only probably weeks away from potentially dispensaries having these products in them.
That's hope.
And by the way, we'll
wait and see.
I don't know if we want to zoom in on this little delicious chocolate bar here. That this is the final design there. Beautiful, all separated into 10 milligram pieces there. A beautiful design. I've never seen a chocolate bar in a child safety proof thing before, but it's pretty freaking cool. And then also, these are the bonbons, which a lot of the videos that we'll have here coming after the break will show exactly how these beautiful bonbons are made. There's painting booths. There's a lot of R&D that goes behind it because these are gourmet. So we're going to show that video here shortly. By the way, if you guys have any questions, James is ready to put those questions up on the monitor. Feel free to ask any questions to Bethanie or Chris here. But back to becoming a chocolatier, is this your first time trying to go into the infused gourmet chocolate? Or
on this kind of scale, yes. I helped some friends out in Colorado, and that's kind of where I kind of dipped my toe into the industry. Was very curious about, you know, when cannabis started becoming legalized around the country, and I saw other chocolatiers, you know, getting into that market. I was always very curious about how that process happens. Like, you know, chocolate making, what we do is very scientific, and this is no different. Even another step involved in that. So I had a little bit of experience with it, you know, that allowed me to be able to, I think, come into Clovr and understand exactly what I wanted to do, the type of product that I wanted to achieve here.
Very cool. So here's my next question, though. We had a live show at COCO's extraction facility, and one thing I learned from them that seemed like a sort of a troubling issue within the industry right now is that DHSS doesn't allow you to taste test your product after it's been infused, which that seems like that may alter the flavor, especially when you get into gourmet type products. Like, how do you address that? How do you get around that?
So I think our product, like, you know, this is really no different than what I do at my shop. And again, going back to the ingredients, the potency of the, you know, the juices and the mint, the flavorings, whatever we're doing, the fruits. And then the high quality of chocolate that's really flavorful chocolate. It masks. We know we can achieve a great flavor, great profile, you know, without having to really do much, because it's really the ingredients that we use that speak volumes to, you know, kind of, I don't want to say masking the flavor of the cannabis, but complementing it more and making it feel like it's a very intentional part of the product.
So pretty much you're going with extraction that's removing all the terpenes, and you're reintroducing those with natural ingredients.
Yeah, I mean, the product we're getting from Clovr, right, this extract that is real clean and pure, easy to work with.
We're using a CO2 distillate specifically because we know that his flavors are what we need. Yeah. And then the distillate and the THC is just the added benefit to that medication that he's providing.
And so it's kind of a win-win, because, you know, sometimes whenever you're doing the vapes, right, so they'll take it down to take all the terpenes out, and they'll reintroduce the terpenes to a vape pen, let's say, or a concentrate. But you're doing it with just natural ingredients in the actual recipe of the chocolate.
Yeah, I mean, like this one, for instance, is a citrus, right? And we're putting, you know, 3 kinds of citrus juices in it. So you're getting the acidity of the fruit, you know, and this just really bright, fresh flavor. You know, and it works really, really well together.
Very cool, and I love these designs too. I mean, if you have not seen, I mean, would you call this a classic Christopher Elbow design?
Yeah, I mean, this is what we're known for, right? Yeah. When we started in 2003, we didn't really even make chocolate bars. We made bonbons that were really brightly colored, and that's kind of what our claim to fame is, and how we built what we ultimately built our company on. And we wanted very much to reflect that in the Clovr product line.
Right on. By the way, if you guys have questions, tag a friend. We're giving away free chocolate tour, the golden tickets. Tag a friend. Also, we're giving away 2 free gift cards to COCO Dispensaries, a free medical marijuana certification from Elevate Holistics. Tag a friend, bring them into this conversation. Lots of cool gifts here. So when can we expect these chocolates to hit the market?
Ask me next week.
Next week, okay. Too early to tell.
Yes.
You guys have been doing lots of R&D here, which is obviously where you don't have the infusion yet, right, to practice, to get the employees ready. Are you guys fully stocked on employees, or are you looking to hire more for?
As we grow, we're obviously looking for more, so we welcome any any and all applications.
Okay. And that and how do they apply? Go to
Then go to clovercannabis.com. In the upper right hand, it's join the team, or you can go to staffedup.com/clovercannabis.
there you go. So if you're looking for a job in a chocolate factory, you can do that. Or if you're looking just to tour one, tag a friend, and we'll do a little competition here for that giveaway for the tour there. Here on the second half, let me see what time it is here. We got a few minutes. On the second half, I want to wait till then to do, looks like we have a couple of questions coming up, but on the second half of the show, we have the tour of the facility that I want you guys to stick around for. But we have our first question coming in here. It says, will there be any tastings for the chocolate tour?
That's what we call illegal, but
Well, non-infused tastings.
non-infused, yes. That's the highlight of every tour right now, is the non-infused.
Yes.
We spend the most time in the chocolate kitchen because that's where all the non-infused samples are. So yes, absolutely.
We're always going to have a tray
Oh,
of
yeah.
non-infused samples at all times.
Oh, yeah.
So.
Yes.
Here, I got. Speaking of samples and all that, so you've been a chocolatier for 20,
Yeah, 20 years.
20 plus years now. How do you still like chocolate?
I'm sure I consume it very differently than when I first started. You know, a lot of my day is tasting, you know, but I have to, be very, thoughtful about why I'm tasting. And, I taste small portions, right? I don't ever sit down with a big chocolate bar or a box of our chocolates just because I eat so much during the day. But, that's not a bad part of the job. So there could be worse things to be tasting. So.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I think chocolatiers is a fascinating profession, to be honest. And how do you still love chocolate when you have to taste it all the time?
It's such a passion for me, and I eat a lot of dark chocolate more than anything. Like around my house, we have a drawer full of chocolate bars from around the world, and typically a dessert for us at the end of the night is a 1 or 2 squares of that.
Sure.
And it's such good flavor, and that's really all you need. So.
And we have another question here. So they say, are you choosing flour with complementary terpenes? So I think we mentioned earlier that you're pretty much taking all the terpenes out at this moment. Is that
Right, yes, with the chocolates, it's all of it CO2 distillate.
Okay.
So it's all being stripped out. We're focusing more on what he has added with the mints and the citrus, those versus adding more terpenes back into it.
And so
Yes.
how do you source these? Obviously, you've had a lot of experience, 20 plus years sourcing these out, these ingredients and vetting those. But can you speak into like how that works? Like when you're wanting a mint, how do you go find the best mint?
We have trusted suppliers that we've used for, relationships we've cultivated over the life of our business, and we're taking those same relationships and using the same ingredients for here. I mean, this really is identical to what we would make at our facility, or what you would get out of our chocolate shop. And it's taken a long time to find those and curate those. Particularly in the chocolate, we travel all over the world actually to bring, find the best cacao and the best origins and bring it all back to Kansas City.
We have another question, but I'll get to that here shortly. But so cacao, what is cacao?
So cacao is actually, this is where I'll start talking for hours about chocolate. Cacao is actually the fruit where chocolate comes from, right? It's actually a seed inside a pod, and it grows 20 degrees north and south of the equator, right? So we source a lot from Central America, some of the upper parts of South America, on through the Caribbean, some parts of Africa, and cacao is really a lot like wine or coffee. There's different varietals, taste different depending on where it's grown, and then our ability as chocolate makers on roasting and we can put our own kind of stamp on it once we get into our facility. There's the parallels between chocolate making and wine making are pretty cool.
Wow.
As far as what a winemaker can do. You give 2 grapes to 2 winemakers, they're going to make 2 completely different wines. Chocolate's very much like that.
Okay, so cacao's a fruit.
Cacao's a fruit.
It's
chocolate,
not like cocoa,
chocolate is
though.
a fruit, right?
But is that
So
the
cacao
basis?
cacao is what we would refer to Cocoa is already processed, right?
Okay.
Cacao is the raw fruit.
I did not know that.
Yeah, and cocoa would be after it's processed.
Okay, so
after the beans are fermented, dried, and then roasted and turned into cocoa.
So chocolate comes from cacao, which is a fruit, and it's the seeds of the fruit that are turned into cocoa.
Correct.
I
Yep.
did not know that. I'm glad we got through that, because I'm pretty sure most people that were watching at home did not know that either. So I never knew chocolate came from a fruit.
Yeah, it's fascinating to me that I love talking about this, because it's somewhat of a passion for me to work with the farmers and help people understand that it is an agricultural product, right? I think a lot of people think chocolate is manufactured in a factory.
Yeah, I thought Hershey made it.
But there's a whole process before it gets to their factory that's pretty remarkable. It's got a lot of history to it.
So you're sourcing out the best of those fruits in the world to bring in the best chocolate, as well as the other ingredients that you bring in as well.
Everything else we choose very carefully, on what we put into our ingredient in our product.
And I'll get to that question here in just a minute. But whenever we took the tour of your factory, you were always coming up with new ingredients, because these bonbons have fillings, right? That have different, seasonal flavors and all that. Like, how do you decide what the flavor? You're always changing the flavors, right? So how do you decide?
That's the fun part of the job. We find inspiration for new flavors from all over, right? I travel a lot. I eat different cuisines all the time, because I always, I'll taste something in Thai or Indian cuisine and try to understand what that is, and might dive into all right, I picked tamarind out of that. Let's go play with tamarind for a while. And we just have R&D sessions at the shop. There's certain times of the year where our business is a little slower in the summer, and we'll just get in the test kitchen and just start experimenting, whether things work or not. We'll try them out, and that's my favorite part of what I do, is being able to just goof around with chocolate and ingredients.
What a cool job, just to be like, all right, today we're gonna make some odd plan. Like, what's the most, what was the, do you have any stories you could share that are like, I thought that was gonna work, but after we tasted it,
there's one thing that I've tried to do, and it's make a barbecue infused chocolate. So obviously we're in Kansas City, and we've tried it a dozen different ways or more, and we just can't get it to taste good. There's something about smoke and chocolate that and the spices that we just couldn't hit on, and I really wanted it to work right. Would have been a great product for us being here in Kansas City, in such a barbecue town.
Is it still on the table at some point?
We try every now and again and pull it back out. I think it's permanently now shuttered in the vault, and we're just done with it.
So all you at home amateur chocolatiers, if you can figure out the recipe of an infused barbecue flavored chocolate, you could have some good business, because
and we've been successful at making a barbecue sauce with chocolate in it, but not the other way around.
Okay. So. All right, I'm going to get to some of these questions here. So somebody asked, will you have sugar-free options on your infused chocolate lines?
We haven't talked about that with Clovr. Ironically, we've been working on that at my company for about 2 years now, and are coming really close to having a product that I feel represents what we would do. So I think that's something in the future that we definitely could add into the line. So
sure.
We get a lot of demand for that.
So I don't even understand how you can make a sugar-free chocolate bar, but that's for people like you to figure out. So good luck with that. Hopefully we can. That'll be in the nearer future. Hopefully for that person that asked that question.
And that's one of our main questions that we get on social, is when are you going to have a sugar-free option? So other than the chocolates, I mean, we have a seltzer coming out with Keef. We have a sucker coming out with Mountain High Suckers. So that's definitely in the works, because the demand is very high, and we get it and we hear it. So.
Yeah, you get into medical side of things, and then everything becomes a little bit more health conscious. So
well, and the good thing about, I think, what we do here, right, is focusing mostly on darker chocolate that has a less sugar content. You know, the bonbons are small. You know, and it doesn't take, this is kind of going back to that candy versus confection thing, right? One of these is such a satisfying thing to consume compared to a whole candy bar, you know. So I think there's a way to consume this in moderation that makes a lot of sense for somebody who's kind of in tune with you know, their sugar consumption.
Yeah, it shouldn't be like a Snickers, hungry, why wait type situation.
Right.
This is like, I just ate, have this after dinner gourmet.
And the flavors are strong, they stay with you, so you enjoy it for, you know, a period of time after you've consumed it.
Very cool. We got another question here. Keep the questions coming in, you guys. We love it. This makes it more interactive and fun for all of us here, especially me when I don't have to think of the questions. Is there a difference between working with white chocolate, dark chocolate, and milk chocolate? And if so, what is the difference?
There's several, really. First and foremost is going to be, like we just talked about, sugar content, actually, right? So milk and white chocolate have a lot more sugar. So we typically, like where you see us use a white chocolate in our bonbons, is going to be with something very acidic, like lemon or citrus. Or, you know, these are kind of tricks that I learned as being a chef, right? We use acid to cut fat and sweetness, right? We do the same thing. I don't consume a lot of white chocolate for that reason, because it's sweeter, but the lemon bonbon and the citrus bonbons we make are some of my favorite things. You know, it's really all, it comes down to balance. Milk chocolate lends itself to some really great things like coffee flavors and, you know, hazelnuts and things like that. And then dark chocolate. Dark chocolate's a little more challenging to work with, actually. It's a very strong flavor, and we have to be very careful on what we put with it. Balance is one of the kind of the buzzwords around our building. Whatever we're doing has to balance with the chocolate we're making. So it's a constant battle.
So next question here, and thank you for clarifying the difference. I had no idea that there was any difference between those. This is fascinating to sit down with the chocolatier, by the way. Thank you. So the next person asked, is there going to be more than one option on milligrams per candy bar? So right now, just to show this again, if I can be an adult and open this. They're in 10 milligrams squares, so they're asking if there's going to be options more on those squares.
Absolutely. So we know right now that with the cost of flour that we're going to have to kind of start low, but we already have everything designed, especially for the chocolate bars, to go up to 300 milligram chocolate bars. So you're getting your 30 milligrams. In addition to the 2-pack, you get a 6-pack. So we're just kind of starting with, like I said, the cost of flour. We're going to start with the lower milligrams, and then as the cost of flour comes down, we'll be able to provide more, but that price point has to match those milligrams at this point for us.
Yeah, and back to being early in the industry, being non-vertical, you guys are at the cost of the cultivators that you can find to work those prices with, and that's the supply chain issue. So are these 10 each year?
These are 10 each,
okay.
20 per package, and then we also have the 6, which is ready. The same thing, 10 milligrams each bonbon. The 10 milligram each bonbon, but this one fell apart.
So these are all people.
Yep.
These are all R&D, by the way. So
Yes.
like these were
non-infused.
So there's
Yep.
paint boost that we'll look at later on the thing. So like this one wasn't quite the appearance they wanted, so they went to the brighter blue here, which is a lot more colorful, a lot more attractive with a brighter orange as well. This is things they've been working on for months and months now, trying to not only get the proper medical dosage down, but also to make it fun and appealing visually, and obviously make it taste delicious. So, and Christopher's been working on that for many years now, and it's fabulous that these two industries can come together, gourmet chocolates and infusing it with medical purposes, because why not have a second way to take your medicine, or a third way or a fourth way? It's
If
just
I could take
so
my
delicious.
Tylenol on this, I'd much rather take a bonbon than a Tylenol,
I
right?
know, who wouldn't, right? But here's my only thing though, is like, are there going to be other options? So this looks so delicious. I'll probably eat this whole pack. So can I
do
go
that.
into a dispensary and can I buy a whole pack of these and also buy a pack of uninfused at the dispensary yet? Or
We've been getting that question a lot.
Yes,
so,
that's been the
yeah,
question.
I think-
As we were saying, the chocolates are coming. The next question is, can you provide non-infused? Because we don't think they'll be able to stop.
Yeah,
so we hope that they medicate responsibly.
That's gonna be hard.
ChristopherElbow.com also
we've
has
got,
non-infused.
stop by our store after the dispensary.
go to
and
both.
Get your
Maybe,
non-infused.
maybe
you know.
go to both. Maybe go pick up the 2-pack at the dispensary. Eat one of these, buy the 6-pack for the next 6, and then
Yes.
maybe fill it up. Next question says, what is the cost for the pack of 2?
We are still working on that.
So cost determined.
Ask me again next week.
Next week. They still haven't rolled out yet. There's lots of dispensaries that are on the waiting list for these. Price to be determined. But now I hope you guys understand a little bit about the supply-demand situation. If Clovr were to have their own cultivation facility, they can have better control over the end cost for the consumers, and that's the same way for pretty much any licensed winner out there except for the vertical ones, and they have the right to set their prices. Next question here says, are you getting into Ruby chocolate? I don't know what that means.
I'm
What
not
is
sure
it?
what that means either.
I know
know-
what that means.
I
Okay.
bet you do.
It's a good thing that's why we keep him around.
That's
right?
why I'm here. Short answer, no. It's been a product I've played with a little bit, but and it's what it is basically is there's a chocolate company that's discovered a particular enzyme in a particular strain of varietal of chocolate that actually will turn it ruby red color, like this nice pink color. Has a little bit of a citric acid because I think they push the fermentation a little. So it's technically dark chocolate, but it looks pink. It's really interesting. We've gotten some of it. I guess I kind of tend to shy away. I don't know if I'm a purist, but from the more gimmicky type things in the chocolate world. And so far, we've kind of just not really seen a use for that in our business yet. Not to say we won't ever, use it, but for now, it's not really on our timeline.
I've never even heard of Ruby.
It's a fairly new thing, right? You've got
Okay.
white milk dark, and then now there's ruby.
Well done with that question.
Somebody out
Well
there
done.
is very
Yeah,
chocolatier.
somebody knows their stuff.
Next question here. We love the questions, guys. Keep them coming in. We appreciate it. Don't forget to tag a friend. We're giving away 2 free tours to the chocolate infused factory here, as well as the rest of the infused areas here, as well as 2 free gift cards to COCO Dispensaries, a free medical marijuana certification. If you know anybody that needs their certification or recertification, tag a friend, bring them into the conversation. Next question says, do you know how many dispensaries these chocolates will be sold at?
So one thing that Clovr has kind of prided itself on is you could have been a dispensary that has all 5 of your licenses, or you could have one that just popped up yesterday. What we do is, if you have an interest in buying our products, we offer equal allocation to every single dispensary. So if you are around and you're interested in it, we are happy to sell it and to transfer it to you. That's kind of our goal, is to make sure that we're wherever patients want us to be. So as soon as we come online, we'll be there.
Right, and what's really cool, there was a lot of talk about why isn't there this product, or why isn't there that product, and you guys were the first manufacturing license to come on board. Well, I didn't really realize until when we were talking with COCO Dispensaries that they were applauding you for going the gummy route, because you were able to take you had limited resources on extraction, right? You had limited trimmings and all that stuff to make your extraction product, to make the infused products. And you went for what's the mass amount of products we can get out there, and that's the gummies. It really is. You can make the most gummies, help the most patients. It's the logical first step with limited resources and limited supply and demand issues to get to the most patients.
Exactly
and so
right.
I wanted to just make sure that people knew that. That's why the oil didn't come out first, because the oil is going to help a sector of patients that are needed really desperately. But if you're going to help the mass first with limited products, really the gummies is the way to go.
If you think about it, we've been 5-6 months, we're reaching as many patients as we can. We understand that there's a need and a desire, but it doesn't make sense if it's at a certain price point that people can't afford. So right now we're kind of tossing up, is it worth having a 500 milligram gummy that people need if it's at this price point?
Yeah.
Because we're not a cultivator, we have to buy, I mean, in the DHS, they really need to get more cultivators online because of supply and demand, but that's kind of what we're up against right now. We can provide these things, but if it's going to kill our patients' pocketbooks, is it worth providing those things? And we get it and we recognize it, but right now it's like, how many patients can we help at one time with what we have?
Yeah, you have to get more cogs in the wheel to
Exactly
get
right.
the system
We'll
really
get
up
there.
and running. Yeah.
We'll get there, I have no doubt.
Yeah. Next question, will you have any other flavors? So just to recap the flavors that are coming out before we go to that, we have citrus caramel, salted vanilla caramel, and
The bars are going to be 73% Venezuelan and the creme brulee, or just the launch SKUs. But this guy already has like a list of flavors. He's just waiting on us at this point.
It's going to be harder to dial me back.
Jeez, from a packaging perspective, I'm like, slow down. Hold on.
I've been in the factory. I've seen the R&D. We're going to have video coming up after the break here showing what really goes on there. But you've been doing this for R&D for 20
I think
plus years.
we want to have kind of somewhat the same experience. We always like to have new products in our stores when customers return. Right, they always know there's going to be something new, so we change our flavors often throughout the year. Launch limited release collections, maybe some seasonally themed collections, right, geared towards holiday flavors and things like that.
You have a passion fruit that I'm really looking forward
Passion
to.
fruit.
In that same vein as the
Yeah.
blueberry and strawberry, where that question was coming from.
They're going to have to hold me back on give me a little restraint on all the different flavors and things we want to do. But the short answer is, they'll be, once we kind of get up and running and fill the pipeline, and have some product, enough material, then we'll start.
Personal
doing
question.
some new stuff.
Personal question. Do the snozberries taste like snozberries?
I don't know what a
That's the next
snozberry is.
part.
I've never seen one in real life, so it's been
hard to source,
the
right?
elusive ingredient. So.
We're going to take one more question, then we need to take a little break here. So this one's kind of open-ended. It's like, are you prepared to keep up with demand? I mean, that's, we talked about the supply. I guess they're maybe asking, are you working with, like, trying to figure out the vertical situation? Maybe is that what they're asking? I don't know. Are you,
I don't know
if you're,
the depth, but like we can use like gummies as an example. That was really high in demand for 1 or 2 months, but when we're the only manufacturer and we're flooding the state with gummies, obviously that tapers off, and then they're wanting cartridges and they're wanting vape pens, and that will end up tapering off. As far as chocolates, we're going to do our best, but like I said, we have the yields and the flour that we have available to us at that price point. So.
I think the reason that question came up is because most of the people, at least, so I deliver the magazines to most of the dispensaries across the state. I understand what's kind of happening internally there, and as soon as they got the Clovr products, the alert went out. They're sold out in the next day or two, and so then everybody's waiting, and then it's like, that's just kind of how this industry rolls out. Unfortunately, it's we're going to have more suppliers come up. We're going to have more options come up, but you guys had the pressure because you were first. And can you speak to like how like that experience has been?
Oh, where do you start? No, I think you kind of nailed it with how can we get the most products out to the most patients? Because you hear the RSO spectrum. You hear the I only want 10 milligrams, I don't want 100 milligrams, you really just have to say, how can I get the most products to the patients as soon as I can? Because there's obviously a need, and we just tried our best. We're trying our best every day to get it out there as affordable and as much as we can, and to differentiate as we go. But like I said, after the sugar-free, it's hey, where are my 500 milligrams? Where are my higher milligrams? And we're like, you will hate us for the price point that you're about to have to pay for that.
Yeah.
So that's the trade-off. Do you want us to produce it because we understand there's a need, but will you be willing to do that? Because it's not just the price of flour, but we're also having to manufacture that. That's the trade-off at this point.
It's an evolving business.
Yeah. We're 6 months in. We're going to get there.
You
We're going to grow. We're going to adapt.
You only have a handful of, well, from the beginning, you had only these options, this handful of options. And as months go on, you have 2 handfuls of options. And then a year from now, you have multiple options, multiple handful of options to source who you get that from, how you make it, what the demand is. So it's not necessarily decisions you're making out of spite or out of like, we need to make this amount of money back. It's like, here's what we're given, here's what we're going to have to give back. And as more options come to you, the more options come to the consumers, and the prices drop to the consumers as well.
Absolutely.
I think another thing with this type of product too to keep in mind is this is a handmade product, right? It's not mechanized, and it can't be mechanized. We have the same issues during holiday peak times at our business where we can't keep up with demand, and we have to shut our website off at like Christmas holidays. So, and everything in here, the gummies, everything is really handmade, and that's going to obviously dictate some of that supply issue as well. Handmade produces a better product, hands down.
And it takes lots more hands-on people that are well-trained, which we're going to take a little break. But speaking of people that are well-trained, we got some video of your facility there in Kansas City. This was back September last year that we came to your facility. Chris Smith and I, once we learned that you guys were going to be working together, we came and we got a little tour of your facility and got a little insight on what it's like to have employees that do this day in and day out. They make these products. You can trust their taste buds because you've been working. Like, I couldn't imagine having I need to make sure that my coworkers' taste buds are on point here.
Yeah, we've got a great team, and they know exactly what my standards are. Right, my standards have become their standards. So
The one thing I respect so much about him is when we did decide to work with him, it wasn't like here's my SOPs, good luck. He's here all the time. One of his long-term employees came over and has helped run that chocolate kitchen, I guess, for lack of a better word. So he's been fully invested. This isn't something we're like, this is my ingredients, good luck. It is his chocolate with THC infused.
Yeah, this was great to have another, the person coming down to kind of run the kitchen's been with me for 12 years, and to have an opportunity, for her to move on to, and but still kind of be in my family has been really cool.
Yeah. Moving on to the medical world of gourmet chocolates has got to be exciting to expand your team that's been doing it for 20 plus years into this new medical market. It has to be very exciting. Let's take a little break. We're going to check in with a couple of organizations. One, the Cannabis Project, is going to give us a little update on what's happening with some of the legal pursuits that they have coming up. We're also going to check in with part of the Kansas Coalition. Is it Bill? Is it Bill, James? Or is it Bill or Bob? I forget. I'm sorry. So Bob. No worries. I'm pretty sure it's Bob. All right. I knew it was close. Bob. I met Bob once just a few weeks ago, so pardon me if I got that mixed up. But Bob's a big part of the Kansas Coalition. He's helping with pushing legalization in Kansas. He has an update on what that bill is looking like, or where that bill is at currently in Kansas. We're going to check in with him, check in with the Cannabis Project. We're going to take a few commercials. And then when we get back, we're going to take some video, or we have some video we're going to show you guys as Chris and I are talking over it about sort of the ins and outs of the lab, the chocolate factory, as he calls it. We call it the Willy Wonka Infused Chocolate Factory. At least that's what we did on the post. If you guys want to win a free tour of Clovr's Wonka-esk chocolate factory, as well as the other amazing products they're making, tag a friend. We're going to give away 2 free tours of the Clovr facility here to 2 lucky people. Also, we're going to give away 2 free 2 free gift cards to COCO Dispensaries, and then 1 free medical marijuana certification from Elevate Holistics. Tag a friend, as many friends as you would like. You get entered into the competition each time. We're going to take a little break. We'll be back here shortly. Let's check in and see what's going on with the Cannabis Project.
Hey guys, Chris and Christina with the Can Convict Project. Hope you're enjoying the show. We've got a few short updates for you this evening.
So we want to start by discussing our declaratory judgment that just happened this past Monday on May 24th. We went to Cole County and Jefferson City. The objective here is to get formal binding authority for our Missouri patients who are on supervision, whether it be probation or parole, the ability to medicate while they're on supervision. Currently, we're having a variety of issues, whether they're having to surrender their medical card, they're not having authorization from their probation or parole officer to medicate. Some parole officers are really great and are not dropping their individuals to violate them potentially. What we're trying to accomplish here is not receive damages from the state, but to give that authorization, formally recognizing our patients' constitutional rights to medicate on supervision. The judge indicated at this hearing that he is going to deny our motion, which is exactly what we were expecting / kind of wanting. We did not want a circuit court judge to rule on this issue. We wanted to get it up to a higher court so it did have more ability to have that binding authority. The individuals who are representing the state are the AG's office, and the case has been continued to August. We expect to receive a denial from the circuit court judge before August. And after that, we will be in the appeals court, which we're really excited about. So stay tuned for that, because we're working really hard so that everybody who is on supervision has that authorization to continue medicating while they are under the state's thumb, pretty much. So next we want to talk a little bit about some of the reentry topics that we've been working on for our individuals. As you know, we have had 3 that we have advocated for in the past year that have been released from custody. We've been discussing with the Last Prisoner Project, getting them some reentry funds to assist them with their lives as they move forward. Chris Simpson, who was released last June, his house burned down. We're trying to get him some money. Charles White, who is 80 years old and blind, he was also released last June. He needs a ramp. There's just a slew of different needs that these individuals have, and the Last Prisoner Project has been really gracious and said that they will assist us with that, so we're very excited. As you know, Robert Franklin has his parole hearing coming up in June with an open release date in July, which we are praying he will get a sooner release date than that, but they're going to assist him as well.
And so don't forget about his GoFundMe that we started for him when we found out that he was getting out. You can find it on any of our social media pages or some of our personal pages, but it's the Robert Franklin GoFundMe. Any money that you can, potentially put on that, it can help him with his reentry, help him, start securing his life here on the outside when he gets out. So any help would be greatly appreciated.
There's a couple events coming up that you will be seeing all over social media. I'm sure everybody has heard about a bunch of them, the Grow Trade Fest, the CanFam event. There's several others coming up in the meantime. We hope to see everyone there. We're still going to have letters of support for Trevor Saller. He, alongside Robert Franklin, was sentenced to a statute that no longer even exists and does not give them the eligibility for parole. These letters of support is what we believe directly affected Robert's ability to be released, so please show up and help us send more of these letters to the governor in support of Trevor's pending clemency.
We just want to bombard the governor's desk with these constant letters, and so they're going to keep seeing, keep seeing the name, keep seeing the logo, keep seeing all the different community signatures, and, we really think it can make a difference. So we can't wait to see it at all these events.
So we have Memorial Day weekend coming up. We hope everyone has a very safe and happy Memorial Day. Enjoy your family, enjoy your friends. And that's about all we have for you right now. I hope you enjoy the rest of the show. We love you guys so much, and we'll see you next week. And thank you, Evolution, for giving us this opportunity every week to speak with you all. We love you guys so much.
And happy second anniversary, Evolution. This is 2 years ago, I think today or yesterday. So happy second anniversary. Love you guys.
Action. Hello all, I'm Bob Corkins with Frontier Peace Advisors. You've seen the great legislative process of the Kansas Cannabis Coalition so far this year. We at Frontier Peace have been proud coalition members since its inception and part of its non-stop, everyday lobbying push throughout the Kansas session. This is the first time that any medical cannabis bill has ever been passed by either chamber of the Kansas legislature. Next January, we simply pick up with Senate Bill 158 exactly where we left off, now just needing a majority of senators to join the already approving House members. The strong bipartisan House support for Senate Bill 158 reflects the great public appeal of peaceful freedom that's part of the DNA of Frontier Peace. 79 out of 125 House members voted to pass our coalition bill, consisting of 39 Democrats and 40 Republicans, and not just a handful of the most liberal Republicans, but with many staunch conservatives who truly stood for the principle of liberty alongside with Democrats. Peace and liberty were more persuasive than demonizing partisanship. Frontier Peace is your libertarian lobbying association in Kansas, with low-price memberships that are aimed only for regular folks to give them professional libertarian advocacy. We were able to merge our forces with the Kansas Cannabis Coalition to achieve tangible results. Senate Bill 158 is a good bill, which may become even better before we're done. For football fans, the right metaphor is probably that we've pushed the ball down into the red zone, with next January representing the goal line in front of us. Thank you for supporting the coalition and Frontier Peace. For newcomers, check us out at frontierpeace.com, and for the coalition, go to our Facebook page that's labeled Kansas Canna Coalition. After all, peace is the new frontier, and cheers to you all.
The Missouri Cannabis Industry Association has been our longest-running show sponsor, while providing quality education over many topics in partnership with area cannabis professionals. MCIA is dedicated to a free cannabis market to create supplies and prices that are patient-friendly, with initiatives to support adult-use cannabis, to protect home growers' rights, and expand the caregiving program. Go to mocia.org to learn about memberships, to learn about their certified caregiving program, and learn how to get involved. Thank you, MCIA, for being a show sponsor.
Headquartered in Kansas City, Clovr is a cannabis-infused product manufacturer that believes in safe, consistent, and quality cannabis products for Missouri's medical marijuana patients. As the extractor, infuser, and wholesaler of their own products, they ensure patients are getting exactly what they are reading on the label. No chemicals, no funny business. Clovr offers a variety of cannabis-infused products ranging from gummies and beverages to vape pens and concentrates, and offered from a variety of companies including Keef, Funny Bone, Wonka, and Robots. Whatever consumption method you prefer, they've got it. At Clovr's facility in Kansas City, they're excited to announce their new, high-quality, cannabis-infused Clovr chocolate bars and bonbons with the help of chocolatier Christopher Elbow. Clovr is excited to continue to launch brand new products in the Missouri medical marijuana market.
Getting a medical marijuana patient recommendation just got easier with Elevate Holistics. Using HIPAA-compliant telemedicine software, Elevate Holistics enables patients like you to receive medical marijuana recommendations from the comfort of their own homes. Here's how it works. First, visit elevate-holistics.com to book your appointment using our online schedule. Then complete the intake forms in our confirmation email. Finally, visit with the doctor using the link in your confirmation email. It's that simple. Book an appointment today.
We just had an audio interface crash here,
So-
we got no sound.
All right, no worries. Just keep looking at this. If we got the video, we're gonna work on the audio. Audio's back. All right. So we're working live here from Clovr's facility. It's a big metal tin of a building, and also we have thunderstorms outside, so we lost a bit of the audio and video there. But here is the most recent issue of the Evolution magazine. Just came out today. Chris Smith was mentioning earlier that this is our 2nd year anniversary, and it is. And look who has the picture on the front cover. This is Chris Smith's picture, his photography work here on the front cover of our 2nd year anniversary. He doesn't know this yet, but now he does, obviously. So thanks, Chris, for being such an impactful part of the industry. Reach out to him for any of your photography needs in the industry. He does great work. And then speaking of great work, check this chocolate bar out right here. Oh my gosh, this looks delicious. This is the Willy Wonka-ish. The whole reason we styled this around the Willy Wonka stuff is because this is chocolate fabulous portrait of artistry. That's the word I was looking for there. And we actually toured Christopher's factory just back in September, me and Chris Smith, which is why I brought those two together. And we have some video here that we're going to show of that tour of his factory. And Chris, you're going to kind of talk us through kind of what are we watching here on this part of the first part of the tour here.
So this is actually my R&D
So the first
lab.
room here we're in, this
kind
is
of
the R&D, the test lab
We
area.
create the flavors.
So this is kind of my test
look at
kitchen.
designs. We
R&D
put together
lab,
collections
names
and
for it.
work on all
But this is
of
where we
our
do
holiday
all of our,
things.
planning for
So
new
a lot
collections.
of what is comes out of our business is born in this room. It's a very important room to us.
We've been working here. And
So what you're seeing now are just some of the different test colors and designs, things
So
that we would
who's your taste tester? Is that you?
potentially
or-
make it into the line
I kind of have the
into one
final
of our
say
collections.
on the
So
taste, but
these you
I'm
do a
good
lot of
with
seasonal
employees that have
type
been with me for 13, 14
thing.
years,
That's a lot of R&D,
they know
right?
exactly
So every
what I
season
want.
is it every season you're coming out with
just
new
kinda make a
flavors
suggestion
for that
and
particular
Yeah,
season?
every season we do new flavors, we do new packaging.
already have a really
Packaging is
good
very
idea
important for our
of what I
business.
am envisioning.
We're a highly giftable company, so we're very seasonal. We follow Christmas being our biggest holiday, Valentine's Day, of course, with chocolate. Easter, Mother's Day, so we kind of have that gauntlet of holidays.
I think there was even some Halloween treats that will show
Yeah.
up here eventually in some of the latter photos here.
So this is walking out now into the actual production kitchen. The main room is where most of the chocolate takes place. It's highly humidity controlled, temperature controlled, and we'll have all of our machines that will hand mold the shells with or enrobe the ganaches with. We'll get into some of the other rooms here, and you'll actually see how we paint, decorate the chocolates, how we make the fillings and.
And so so let's say from Valentine's Day of 2020 to the Valentine's Day of 2021, those are different. They're going to look different.
Yeah, they'll look different flavors, different designs, different packaging. It's really hard to do, sometimes we wish we could do the same thing over and over, but I think our consumer and customers have expected that.
Yeah.
Hey, there's what's new this year? What's the next?
Oh, you got me
collection
last
gonna
year's
be?
Christopher
Right,
those chocolates.
yeah. But it's also it's one of the things we feel like keeps our customers engaged and why they come back. I mean, we hope they obviously like the flavors and stuff inside, but the packaging really is important as well. So this is our cooking room right here that we were just in. We make all of our own caramels from scratch, all of our own, ganache fillings, anything that goes in. It's all made from scratch and small batch. And then this is going into the paint room. So this is kind of the beginning of the process for our bonbons. We actually airbrush. We use an airbrush that you would use for hobbies. Colored cocoa butter is our paint, and we actually airbrush the molds. And that's where the color will happen. A lot of people think we paint them after they're made, but we actually paint the molds. And that's how we can get them really, really shiny. We use these really good, high-quality polycarbonate molds.
It's crazy how, because it's almost like the packaging is a part of the actual chocolate itself. So you have the packaging room, which is really just the coat of the so there's the Halloween ones, by the way. So you painted that Halloween theme in that painting booth ahead of actually forming the fillings.
Yeah, it's just, one thing you notice about our bonbons, they're really shiny, and that's a kind of a combination of things. The most important thing being having this really polished polycarbonate mold that we lay the colored cocoa butter down in, let that sit. It's a long process. It takes 2 to 3 days from start to finish to make a bonbon. So there's a lot of important steps, and then there's a lot of important waiting time while things crystallize and science does its thing.
Sure, and so this is where she's actually, after the shell has been made, the beautiful outer shell that you expect to be new for each holiday, each year, being a Christopher Elbow connoisseur. Then you have ladies like this that are filling it up.
So this is coming out, well, actually taking that painted mold and then filling it with chocolate. We flood it with chocolate. Vibrate it to get the air bubbles out because you don't want any blemishes on the surface, and then when you turn it over and let it drip, the excess drip out, what's left behind will become the actual shell.
That's amazing. And during this time, you can't hear the audio, but during this time I was asking her if she would ever eat another Hershey's again. I think is what I was asking her. And she was very polite and didn't say anything negative about them. So thanks for doing that.
If people like that, we don't hold it against them. So. I've been known to be seen with a Butterfinger every now and again. But.
It's an expensive s'more.
We actually scrape the chocolate off the Butterfingers and we run them through our enrober and put really good chocolate on them. And it's pretty spectacular, actually.
Bring in the outsourced chocolate. Yeah. I couldn't imagine working in a chocolate factory like this, doing this every day. I think that I would just be about 4 or 5 times her weight right there.
Yeah, and it's a very methodical, detail-oriented, right? They're doing this thousands and thousands of times, and our whole goal is, can we make the next one better than the one before? Right? That's a very particular mindset that our staff has. It takes a pretty special person to really love and do this.
Yeah.
So this is our packaging operation. Again, everything's packaged by hands. We hand tie ribbons on everything. When you get a box of our chocolates, we want this experience, right? You're unwrapping it and kind of building up some anticipation as you get into it. So before you've even tasted anything, it's already been an experience.
That's incredible. So like a lot of these, this was in I think this was in September. So like
we were in full swing production, getting ready for Christmas time at that point. So it was a busy time. I remember.
Yeah, there was a lot of people in there hammering out all these different things, and there was more than chocolates there too. I think here in a second there was. After you can keep it going. I think
there's the Halloween.
Halloween market, like, how do you?
Well, it's kind of a newer market for us. We never really did anything for Halloween because we kind of thought it was geared towards children.
Sure.
Right? Candy. You're certainly not going to give these out to trick or treaters at your home, but we've found adults
where you live. I guess.
True, but we found adults they bring them to their Halloween parties and they really enjoy them, and it kind of gives us a little time to actually play with some more fun things, not so serious,
Yeah, I think that actually that's a funny during Christmas though. That's a huge market. Is like, don't eat that crappy kid food.
Right?
No, try this out.
Yeah.
But they before that there were some taffy bar looking. What's going on? What are those?
So
things?
that's actually a French confection called pâte, a fruit pâté. It's basically fruit, real fruit, sugar, and pectin cooked down. It's a very typical French confection that you'd find in every pastry shop over there. It's basically like jam that's cooked farther, so it sets up, and then you cut it into squares. I eat a lot of that because it's really just like an explosion of fruit. And we put a lot of that inside some of the bonbons as well, because it's a really great way to get that really kind of fresh, vibrant fruit flavor.
But that's a separate item besides
yeah,
chocolate.
we make as you can see, we make dessert sauces, chocolate bars, toffee, our version of a turtle, and some other confections. The pâte de fruit is really the only non-chocolate thing I think that we make, mainly to feed my habit.
And it was Petra V, is that how you say it?
Pâte de fruit, fruit pâté. So just
Pâte
kind
de
of
fruit, okay. All right. I'll have to write that down.
Yeah. Odd French.
These are those are candy bars there?
Those are some of our bars that we make. We do 12 flavors of bars that have flavors and things in them, and then we do 12 single origin bars, so chocolate bars from around the world. And you can get a couple of those and taste them side by side to see how different really the cacao tastes.
So it's the fruit that's behind the cocoa that from different parts of the world, and you can try a different chocolate bar that has the different.
Yeah, and we really focus and highlight the country where it comes from, because really most countries have a really unique, distinctive varietal of cacao.
And if you wanted your customers to actually build that palette for find that, you're helping them find the palette that's best for them, right?
Yeah, and it's really fun when people come into the shop and they kind of are like, oh, I didn't know this existed in the chocolate world, right? And then they get bars, they take them home, and they ultimately come back and like, yeah, Madagascar is my favorite, and they'll buy like 4 or 5 of those.
Wow. So can people get is there any kind of where people can get mailed here's this one this month, or a weekly or monthly mailer, where they get?
We don't have really a club or a monthly thing like that. We've been trying to figure that out for a while, but
I would once you get that going, let me know.
I will.
I want to know where my favorite fruit chocolate comes from.
Right.
So pause that for a second. So is that the same design that made it through the final cut here? Is that what this is?
So yeah, that's it. Mm-hmm.
So wow. So we were there.
Those were some of the very first test molds that we got in and when we started playing around with.
I remember I was blown away by just the artistry that was behind that. I didn't get to taste it because it was still pretty new. We got to taste some other stuff that you'll see me and Chris here tasting in a minute, but that's the final design here. Was it the final flavors that came through, or was
probably some of them maybe, but we went through a lot of different reiterations on flavors. I'm trying to figure out, and they were all good, but it was kind of like, what do we want to launch with? And we kind of dialed in, I think, on a really good representation of the Christopher Elbow chocolate brand that'll come out first, and then we can, like we had talked about earlier, expand from there seasonally or inspirationally.
Yeah, that's amazing. So yeah, we got to see that back in September. Really, really cool experience. It's cool seeing all of this R&D on. I just wish I was there to be a part of the tasting crew the whole time. That's what me and Chris were saying. Is what a cool job to be able to dial into people's taste bud sensors and help not only dial into that, but show them new experiences in that realm of flavors from around the world that people have probably not even ever got to taste before. And then I think this is one of the last videos here. It's pretty much the bonbon things again, and I want to go back to the painting of the booth. You can let it play if you want, but how on the painting? How do you teach somebody how to paint a chocolate shell?
It's surprisingly easier than you think. Everybody always asks me, oh man, you must be a great artist, and I couldn't paint or draw to save my life. this kind of organic look that we go for, right? It's not so forced, of kind of splatter Jackson Pollock style. We want them to look very natural, kind of, and not real rigid. So it's a little easier to achieve that. And, we use a lot of different techniques to paint, the splattering, or, sometimes even just a little swirl.
You can pause
sponges.
This is about to, that's about to dive into it, or you can let it play. Go ahead and let it play. Might as well let it play. I just think that how do you teach somebody how to be artistic on a chocolate level? And I think that's just a beautiful form of artistry I've never even thought of. And by the way, there we are eating this, and look at our happy, delightful faces. And wow, we're just so happy right there. You can't hear what we're saying, but I'm pretty sure that I said this is awesome. This tastes delicious, amazing. This is by far the best chocolates that I had ever tasted to that point, and still to this point, I've never had anything better. And I'm showing a little close up of the shininess of the artistry outside of it and all that. So, and I've never actually heard of like any other state that's gone legal that's offering a gourmet style medicinal option as this. Are there other places?
I think there's some, yeah. And I have some peers in the industry that I know have come up with some pretty good products, and when I talk to them, we all agree that why can't a patient have that needs to consume this, have a great experience, right? It doesn't have to just be this clinical, right, type thing. Have a really great experience, because I think, for me anyway, and my background, food is very comforting, and has a kind of this value to it that I hold on a pretty high pedestal. Which is why we take such good care with our ingredients and how we craft these things. So why can't we have this experience in the medical marijuana field?
Sure.
Yeah.
And it's and we talked about this earlier before we went on camera. It's like part of it is like it tastes so good, right? It tastes so good. Will I eat one too many? Like there's that, I probably would at some point, but luckily I know how to deal with, like I've been there before. So
yeah, but it's good. This is why I think this kind of product is good for that, because you don't like you talked about a candy bar earlier, a Snickers. You don't have to eat a whole one of these. You get really satisfied on one square of really good rich chocolate, or a really well-composed bonbon. That's enough for a lot of people.
Yeah.
I'm sure there'll be some that want to eat more than one, but
I just think there needs to be there needs to be like a little label that says here's where you go to get the
right.
after snacks. Like
hopefully everybody, most people have heard of our brand and Chocolatier, and
yeah.
Will recognize the quality.
Might as well have some backup non-infused
right. Yeah.
Christopher Elbow chocolates to go along with what you buy at your dispensaries that are hopefully coming in the next few weeks, potentially up to a month. Any more?
As soon as the DHSS tells us, we'll be ready to roll.
Waiting on DHSS.
That's right.
So email DHSS and ask why we don't have chocolates yet. No, don't do that. If you do it politely. But these are really, really delicious. I've tried them before. I recommend that if you're a snacker, have some backup Christopher Elbow non-infused products, so you can eat the one and then demolish all the rest. James, are there any other questions coming up? If you guys have questions at home, please feel free to chime in. We're getting closer towards the end here. Don't forget to tag a friend. We're giving away 2 free tours. These are the 2 golden tickets, the Wonka-esk style tickets to Clovr's facility here. You get a tour of the chocolate factory that's about to be up and running. You saw videos there of the similar style that it's going to be in. I'm sure they'll take you on a tour of all the other wonderful products they have with robots, Wana, Keith, and all the Clovr infused products as well. It's a great factory. It's amazing. It's huge, and they've done wonderful things for the community, for patients. We have one quick question here. Is the rest of the am I going to say it wrong?
Cacao.
Is the rest of the cacao fruit edible?
So the rind is not, or the actual pod itself is not. But one of my favorite things is there's a pulp inside that surrounds the beans, and it's really citrusy, sweet. It actually is what aids in the fermentation of the cacao seeds. That is, my favorite thing in the world is being in a plantation, at origin, and cracking a pod open and just sucking the pulp off the seeds.
Wow.
It's floral, citrusy, and really great. It's used in a couple things. You're starting to actually see it now. You can get cacao juice on the market. Really what we like to do is ask the farmers where they keep their hooch, because they make a liquor from it that's really delicious.
Where's this hooch at?
Yeah, the first thing we ask when we get on the farm is, we know you got some around here somewhere. But because it aids in the fermentation process, it's super integral to that process, and if you take that away, then it would render the beans worthless, or the seeds worthless, so they wouldn't be able to ferment and ultimately become chocolate.
Wow.
And then the pods go right back onto the floor as fertilizer. So it's a really great, cacao's one of the best products for the environment to grow.
This reminds me of some of those travel chef shows where you're just going around and
we'll have to do the next show. We'll do the next show down in South America or Central America.
We'll pick a winner, and I think it'll be me, and I'll go on that, right. And I'll be that guy that's I'll try anything. You can be like, here, this is gonna be good. Turns out it's like some kind of back crap or whatever. But it turns
I don't
out
like to eat weird stuff too much, so you'll be safe with me.
All right. Well, so it turns out I've won the second competition, which is going with him to source these wonderful ingredients that are going to be in some of these chocolates coming up. We're getting close to the end here. Any last questions? If you guys have anything else, excuse me, tune in. Anybody from the crew here? Kat, do you have any questions?
My question was, do you hire any taste testers?
All the time. We always need them. So that's an open-ended invitation for anybody.
Sorry, I had a little jerk up there. So, taste testers at the chocolate factory. Evidently, you're going to hire Kat here. I may want to apply too, so don't dismay my resume that I supply.
Okay.
I think that's it. Do you have anything else you want to plug, Bethany?
No, thanks for putting me on the spot, but no. No, just thank you for having us. Thanks for letting us talk about our products and hang out with Chris. We're real good.
What else? What's the next chocolates that are coming on for the next seasons here? Anything in the works here with your own personal chocolates coming up?
Oh my gosh, we have so much on tap. We just finished all of our planning for Christmas. We do have something really cool coming out for Halloween that I'm super, super stoked about.
Is he going to try to talk the parents into not eating the kids' candy?
Yeah, I can't. I don't want to spoil it because it's so cool. But watch what we do for Halloween this year.
So where can they find more information about that when the time's right?
So our website, elbowchocolates.com. We have a store down on the crossroads, and our products available throughout the city at different retail establishments.
So how long do they have to order that in advance? I know a lot of times you get backed up, especially around certain holidays. Halloween's probably a little bit slower, but how long?
We typically launch about 6 weeks or so, kind of a preview 6 to 7 weeks before a season. Our product doesn't have a long shelf life, so we like to kind of start shipping it about 5 weeks before the holiday seasons. As people hang on to it another couple weeks, we like to, I think for best texture and taste, 6 to 8 weeks is really kind of tops for that you'd want to keep our product around.
So we're looking at coming up month or two away, right? So
Yeah, not very far. Summer will go really quick.
a few months away. Check that out. If you want your wife or other spouse or whatever to not eat your kids' candy, the best way is to order some Halloween treats from Christopher Elbow here. I think. Do you have another question?
I have one more.
Okay, come on with it.
What do you do with the chocolates where the taste does not work out?
And then let me repeat. I don't know if they can hear her or not.
Just repeat it.
So, what do you do with the chocolates that the taste are not up to par to your?
We have a bin, and we have we have occasionally have some defects in appearance as well, but we have a little bin in our break room where we kind of put all of that, and it's just kind of a grab bag. And it's funny because like the FedEx guy or the mailman come in, and even if they don't have a package for us, but they just go straight to that and get a handful. So everybody just kind of eats them. And sometimes we'll put some of those flavors that don't work quite right. So, they'll come back and be like, what was that? What was that?
I see Kat coming in now. I know.
Right.
What's she doing here?
Well, I know why you didn't put that one out.
We used to have one guy who was great. He'd just walk in, early on and like, hey, walk right over, pick it up, see ya. Like, all right. But they got our packages to everybody on time, so we feed them as much chocolate as they want.
That's awesome. I used to make for gift bags. I'd make these allegedly infused candies for people, and there would be a few of them that were extra spicy, and they wouldn't know which one was the extra spicy. They're all cinnamon, but there was a few that were extra spicy cinnamon. And it's kind of fun when you pull out a party, like, hey, everybody have fun with these, and then there's that one person that's like, oh, I don't want any of this. That sounds like the grab bag situation. Any other questions from the audience or any other people online? Thanks for tuning in, you guys. If not, tag a friend. You can tag a friend up to the next week or so to enter the competition for this free tour of this chocolate factory that's going to be one of the most amazing infused chocolate factories in Missouri, much less the United States. We'll call it the world. Let's just call it the world. Obviously, people, really experienced people here, lovely people to work with, great collaborations. We appreciate you guys letting us come in tonight to your facility. Thanks to our sponsors, MCIA, Elevate Holistics, obviously Clovr. Special thanks to to the Cannabis Care team and to COCO Dispensaries for putting on their Bud Tender Boot Camp coming up next month. Find more information about that on the Cannabis Care Team website. You guys have been awesome. Thanks for tuning in. Next week, we're going to be live from Happy Rock Farms. It's going to be MCIA's show. We'll have the CEO of Green Flower. They're an educational institution that goes into universities across the United States. And they've teamed up with Northwest Missouri State University to offer the state's second cannabis curriculums. SLU has their own, and now we have Northwest Missouri State University that's offering theirs. We're going to have a little call with the CEO of Green Flower, the program I'm probably butchering his title here, but the program developer for the university there in Northwestern Missouri State University. Lots of cool shows. We're doing a live show from Green Light's cultivation facility as well, and then a live show from Casey Can Transports, one of the very first licensed transportation facility in Missouri, with Casey Snell. It's going to be great shows coming out. Lots of good giveaways. Tune in. Let us know if you have any feedback on what shows we can help you guys watch or what you're interested in seeing in the future. And we appreciate you guys watching. Thanks to our production crew. Thanks to Clovr. Thanks to Christopher Elbow.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Yep. You guys have a good night. We'll see you next Thursday. Peace.